Hello, my friends. I want to try to articulate today a little more about some really deep realizations I've been having since my cat Sasha passed away last week. And she keeps teaching me, and it's all incredible actually when you really embody it or start experiencing it, the reality of it. But first, I wanted to share because I was with a spiritual teacher many years ago. His name was Barry Long, and I went to see him in Australia every year for an event. And there's a couple of things that stood out for me just recently. One one thing I remember he said was, um, I don't, relating to somebody he loved or his partner, I think it was, he would say, I don't miss you because I love you too much, or something to that extent, that when you deeply love somebody, you don't miss them. And I didn't quite get that back then. But that was a very clear statement that has stayed with me and has shown up here in the last few days. And the other one that he would say is because there was somebody who was dying in the group, somebody's husband was passing, and he talked about it. And he would say, when somebody dies, be very, very still, because the love that you shared with that other, that that dies into your heart. The word die is not quite right, but that goes into your heart because the love is the only real thing. And again, I was like, what does that mean? So now I'm here with Sasha, and we shared a deep, deep love, even deeper the last few months that we had. And as she had passed, I shared that her body was still lying in my living room, and I was a little hesitant to put her in the ground because then I couldn't touch her, kiss her, tell her I love her. And but at the end of the day, of course, I did after I really just was able to fully grieve and cry and feel and all that. And it was interesting because as soon as I had put her in the ground and put beautiful flowers around it, and I went back in the house, I thought I would be feeling empty, but it didn't happen. All I could feel was love when I would think about her. And that has remained to this day and will probably continue. So the reason I want to share that is that it really is true that the love that we share with somebody, that will never ever die. It lives on in our hearts forever. And every time when I think of Sasha or, my previous cats that have passed, I literally only feel gratitude and love, specifically the gratitude for, to have been able to be with these amazing beings. I mean, it's just an upwelling of gratitude, like, wow, how blessed I have been to share this love with these little fur balls. And that is exactly every time when I would think of Sasha, I would go down to the creek. I shared some of that where she would want to be in the water and stuff. So I would go down there and just feel her. And when I did that, I just felt enormous amount of love and gratitude, just incredibly beautiful. It was like there was no room to miss her. And then I started understanding what Very Long talked about because it becomes so real for me. I cannot miss her because what we shared is here, and that was the only thing that was real about both her and I. The fact that her body is not here anymore, that cannot take away from the love that we shared because the love is the only thing that is real. And I want to just also make sure that when I share that, there's nothing wrong with grieving. I think grieving when we lose somebody we love is a very necessary and unavoidable phase. It may be shorter or longer. I know for people who lose a child, a spouse, somebody that's so close, it can go on for years, the grieving. It can come up and then it moves on. So that is a process we should not try to avoid or think it's wrong, because it's absolutely not. It is very necessary. It also helps, there's a feeling like when you grieve somebody, there's a feeling that you still feel connected to them, right? In that depth of feeling, it's like, here we are back together because I can feel you so deeply. So that is part of the process. The fact that mine showed up the way it did, I didn't plan for it, but there is an incredible beauty in that, and I can only feel love and gratitude for what Sasha and I shared, and everybody else that I've, shared deep love with. That's the only thing that's real. And I have never experienced it so tangibly as I did the past week. Probably because I have cleared out a lot of my gunk from this life and others, that there is more space to be present, not just with the grieving, but with what else is here. And this is not bypassing the grief. I'm not a bypasser, um, at least consciously, but I'm really looking at this. I think it would be more fair to say that if I ignored the love that is here, then I would be bypassing what is real. So, it is a matter of finding the balance in everything we do and don't do, that we find the balance in becoming aware of what is actually happening inside of us and not try to go up here and, make a story out of it or try to rationalize it or whatever we try to do, because then we are not present with what is actually happening, what is true. And ultimately, the only thing that is true is love. And, I realize also that the body of Sasha, of course, it's gone. And I can say I still miss, I can still imagine just holding her, especially when she was so weak towards the end and so frail and helpless in a way. But there's just love. There's just love. So to feel it at such a deep level and realizing that her body was actually never real. And I'm not trying to do any spiritual bypass here either. I want to just say that I really speak from my own experience, direct experience inside. And I can just see that her body, although I loved her body and the connection with the body, both our bodies, that was not it. The love is the only thing that is and ever will be real. So for me, it's so much easier to be present with that only, and it just fills my heart. And the more I allow that, so the more I think of Sasha, let's say, or when she comes, crosses my heart and mind, I just let myself feel that love, and that ignites my heart. And it kind of teaches me at a much deeper level how important love is, because it is all there is. What we see, hear, taste, touch, and smell, that includes little warm, soft kitties. It's not real. It is real to our senses, and that's why it's really nice to share that, right, in the physical. But it is not real. And please don't take this as some spiritual concept that, it has everything that we realize has to be felt and realize deep within so that it becomes our own true reality. In the meantime, we can kind of contemplate certain things that we resonate with in spiritual teachings and open up for that to be realized in us so we actually know it in our own experience and not just because somebody said it or wrote it. But I do feel that it's important that I share, this depth of love that we share with anybody. And when I focus on the gratitude and the love that I had for Sasha, my heart just expands and it overflows, and there is no sadness. I'm not missing her. So when Barry Long said, they die into your heart, the form doesn't die into the heart, but the love we shared, their only reality. And that's why when for me now, realizing that really is the only real thing that's going on, I feel that that's opening doors to something more expansive and more true about love. Again, sometimes when I have these insights, I haven't thought about it as in how am I going to share it or written about it. It's just here, and I just click the record button, and then I just see how it wants to unfold. So if it's not fully clear, I have said that a few times before on my videos, it's just because it's still in process, but there is enough for me to want to share it because it feels very alive and a very important thing that we can focus on the love that we shared with somebody, and that will never ever be gone, ever. And we can always go there and feel that connection in and as love. So maybe that helps some of you to take somebody you lost, maybe to a deeper level. I don't know. You're free. Feel free to comment in the below. Would be lovely to hear about it. All right, my friends. Blessed be.